Spike Milligan's office.
Hello, Captain. Could I speak to Spike, please?
Who's calling?
Prince Stone.
And I'm the Queen Mother. Can I have your real name, please?
Oh, no, it really is. Could you put me through to Spike, please? It's important.
Nice try. You should get a job as an impressionist.
Tell him it's Charles Windsor. We're old friends.
He says bog off, even if you are him.
It's just that one doesn't seem to have received one's invitation to the birthday party tonight.
It's a television program. It was made a few weeks ago.
Oh, but I got him a present and a card and all that.
Never mind, love. If you switch on now, you'll be able to catch it.
Oh, splendid. Which channel would that be? Light or home service?
Good evening to you and welcome on this balmy evening as we stand outside the mighty portals of the Fun Factory. The great BBC as the lights flicker and dance behind the windows. Why wouldn't they be dancing? We're here to celebrate a very special birthday of the great godfather of British comedy. Aha! And what's the likes of me doing here? Well, we're both Irish. We're both called Terence, and since I spend most of my time in here anyway, why shouldn't I join with the rest of you in wishing happy birthday, Spike? Thank you very much, and welcome one, and welcome all to the palatial elegance of the Radio Theatre deep within the bowels of Broadcasting House. What more fitting venue could there be to celebrate Spike Milligan's 80th birthday? Well, the historic Paris studio, where Spike recorded many of his classic shows, would be more fitting, but the BBC flogged that off years ago. So here we are. We're here tonight not to bury Milligan, but to praise him. Born in Ahmednagar, County Limerick, now India, in 1918, the man made his BBC radio debut as a comedian in 1949 on Opportunity Knocks. And since then, for 50 years, he's made us laugh and cry and shriek and sob and cheer as the true pioneering trailblazer of British comedy. Don't stop me now! Voice is off. Novels, plays, poetry, cinema, television and radio. It gets worse. There's not a medium of which he's not the comic master. And tonight, friends and admirers, working colleagues, and no doubt...
Oh, Christ, hurry up.
People... Drives you mad. You're trying to give a man a huge build-up. I was going to use the word genius and everything. And out you walk. Have you to be home in bed at a certain time or what?
No, I think you're overexposed, Harry.
I'm not the first to say that. Now look.
Ladies and gentlemen, this recording is going to go out with the predictability by the BBC on my 80th birthday. At the moment, I'm only 79. So by the time it goes out, I might have snuffed it.
We're going to keep you alive if it kills you.
That's so Irish. You keep you alive, it kill you. Oh, Jesus, now.
Now tell me, how are you feeling? You feeling well?
When I got up this morning, I felt myself all over.
Yes?
And I felt all right.
Yes.
Now, you didn't do that sort of thing. You're too young to do that.
I am, and I'm also...
I take great pleasure in feeling myself.
Well, it's no sin as long as you don't enjoy it, you know.
Oh, I do enjoy it.
Ah,
yes.
what's the sin?
I actually go to church and confess it. Say, Father, I felt myself all over today. I said, 3 Hail Marys and 1 Our Father.
Is that all you
And I
get?
said, London Irish, 3, the Saracens, 49.
Do you find yourself looking back in your childhood?
No, it hurts my neck.
But little could you have imagined that the BBC would mount this lavish tribute to you.
They are masters of the obvious. I've been waiting for this since I was 21. And on the 80th birthday, they say, wait a minute, he's still alive. So they're going to give me a 3-hour program.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell me to piss off.
Nonsense. Do you still perform the one-man shows? Your one-man show?
This is one of them, yes.
No, there's two. That's it.
Yes, I do a 2-hour show. I read some serious poetry and comic poetry. Let me give you a comic poem. Let me get it down. My name is name is Fred Fanacapan. I walk about the town, sometimes with my trousers up, and sometimes with them down. And when they were up, they were up, and when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, he was arrested.
Tell me, do you relax? Do you ever take it easy?
Yes, I forget who she is.
The first of our guests on this special night has appeared with Spike here in movies and on television. He's a script-writing contemporary. But has he got a single good word to say about him? Let's find out. Let's welcome Eric Sykes.
Thank you, David.
When did you first set eyes upon this man, or how did you first set eyes upon him?
Well, we first met. He was doing the Goon Show, and I was doing my shows, and we were doing different things. And he said, "Would you help me write this thing?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And because with him, it was his show, and it wasn't difficult to write.
Money for him, though.
Money, eh?
Money.
You didn't get paid, did you?
Yes, yeah.
In those days, a fiver, that's all. Do you know, when I wrote Educating Archie, I got 50. You know, 15 pounds and a glass of orange juice. That's all I got. I don't know, how much did you get?
But, £5.
£5.
And you moved in together?
No.
I moved in together, and he
moved in with you.
together.
Yes. Did you ever fall out? Did you ever have a row? Or
He fell out the window, yeah.
did you push him?
Oh, no,
No,
wait a
no.
minute. No, I think only once. Once did we ever fall out. And fell enough. When we were writing this thing, we disagreed about one word. And I said, "It's got to go in." He said, "It doesn't have to go in." And I said, "It does, otherwise it doesn't have rhythm. It doesn't matter whether it's funny like that. No, it doesn't." He went like that as only he can do, and he picked up then, which was a pot made out of pot, you know, one of these date things. And he threw it at me, and I went like that, and it went right through the window, and we're on the 5th floor. And it went right downstairs, and of course, and I went downstairs, 5 floors, picked it up, and come back and said, and I always remember very stupidly, "Remember what day this was." I mean, a very stupid thing to say. But he went into hospital the same day. He'd gone. He was like that. And he's never got over it. And, you know... and I think that's the only time we've really had a crossword. And that's not bad, is it?
A jolly good, Eric, yes.
Why do you think you've remained pals all this time?
No, we haven't remained pals. We had a crossword.
Our next guest is one of the most famous sitcom writers this country has ever produced. Johnny Spate.
Where's your stick? I left it in there. I was trying to get one of those other, what do you call them, the numbers on there, the walking frames, but they haven't got any left. There's been a big call on them since Labour got in. They run out of the walking frames, so... Do you know what he's saying?
No.
Never mind, they are then. Right.
Johnny, were you in awe of these two
I
great
was very
men
much
when
in
you
awe of
started?
these two. Yeah, very much so, very much so. The greatest thing that ever happened to me, I was just struggling to be a writer, and I went into an office where there was some of the greatest comedy writers in the country working, who were against gag writing and that sort of really real comedy writing, and Spike was always a hero of mine, so was Eric, and you can imagine someone just starting, trying to be a writer, and there you are, sitting in the same room with two giants. And it was, you know, I was awestruck. I say when they spoke to me, I must have thought I was an half-wit.
But you worked okay with them. I mean, did you find them bullying?
No,
or
not at
nasty?
all, not at all. They pulled one trick on me, I thought, that was over my stutter, when Patrick Campbell was working for the Daily Express at the time. And he came to interview this Comedy Factory sort of thing, and they left me to last. Well, Patrick had a terrible stammer also. I was doing the Arthur Ain show at the time, and he came in, he said to me, I'm a great fan of yours. And I said, well, I'm a great... And Patrick said, are you taking a piss?
Can I tell you a story about Johnny?
Yeah.
He went to a doctor, and he had
I've still got it.
a bad knee.
Still got it.
And the doctor said, well, it's old age, that's funny. My other leg's exactly the same age. And
next we welcome another contemporary of Spike's, a fellow writer. Their comedy careers have run cheek by jowl for, lo, these past 50 years. Welcome the very tall Dennis Norton.
Where do I go? Right.
Sit down, please. Sit down, please. Has Spike changed over the years?
well, underpants, yes.
But in character?
I think he's got worse, if anything. I mean, he's more curmudgeonly now, but it's all still there, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
He's
yeah.
the most difficult
I'm
man
glad
in the
to know
world.
I'm all still here. Very comforting to hear you're still here.
There was a time when I nearly wasn't. Tell him about what you did in Oblomov, Son of Oblomov.
Well, I showed that ad lib. I can't remember it now. It was just ad lib the whole, so every night we did it different. And I must have been wonderfully fresh in my mind, because every night we did it different.
I mean, it was the talk of London, that play. I mean, it's a West End play, which is different every night.
Yes,
I went to see it, and I made the mistake of sitting within Spike's vision, as it were, where he could see me. Now, he hasn't got any nerves, he hasn't got any fear. I'm riddled with it, you see, and the play's going on, and he suddenly stops, and he says, there's another writer in the audience. What's the next line, Dennis?
And sometimes when we reverted to the play and actually carrying the real lines of the play, I'd forget. And the chap whispered to the audience, oh, no, no, no. I said, yes, we know the line, but we don't know who says it.
How did you meet Spike, Dennis?
I don't know. At that time, all the BBC writers used to sort of congregate. As far as I remember, it was at a place called Daddy Allen's, which was a club that gave tick. You could eat and pay the next week,
Yeah.
which was good for writers in those days. What you have to remember was that when we were writing straight after the war, we had the benefit of something that people can barely envisage these days, and that was the whole of our audience, the whole of the country was bored and had shared an enormous experience.
The war had an influence on you, hadn't it?
Yeah, it terrified me.
Of course it did. But I mean, did it change your sense of humour?
Well, I'll give you an example. We had there's a swear word in this, but it's a true story. We had a sergeant bullet, usually tall like that. And we went on the front to Paris, some gunners, and across the street there's a couple of gunners standing out a curio shop looking at their money. And he went, oh, what's wrong, lads? He said, well, I think, sir, that woman in there done us some to change. No? Don't you speak the lingo? He said, no, sir, leave it to me. He went in the shop and said, bonjour, madame. Bonjour, monsieur. He said, comment allez-vous? He said, yes. Well, give him his fucking change back.
You always say it was the sense of humour that won the war.
Yes, it was. There's a one soldier there who was a latrine orderly. So we used to jibe him about this lowly job. So one Christmas he got drunk. He said, all right, to you is just shit, but to me it's bread and butter. Story of an officer called Berman Smythe. Very English, very brave, and we were in Tunisia. He said, look, Milligan, I want to get in your brain and take me to looking for a new OP. I said, all right, so off we go. I said, off we went. And we went along a while, and I was an old soldier by then, and we were in an area where it was too quiet to be safe. Anyhow, he didn't seem indifferent, so stop here. So I stopped here. He got out with his map, and he stood in front, and I heard a noise to the left of me, and there were two German paratroopers with their hands up. He said, what's going on, Milligan? I said, a couple of German paratroopers here, sir. He said, well, ask them what they want. So I think they want to be taken prisoner. He said, well, tell them we haven't the facility.
Now, not everyone who wanted to be here tonight could make it, but someone
I didn't want to be here.
with a better excuse than most is currently touring overseas. Spike's cohort from the legendary Goon Show days, Sir Harry Seacombe.
Greetings, old mullet sock. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Mulligan. Happy birthday to you. Remember the Mapleton Hotel when you dared me to run round the whole bit of Piccadilly in my vest and underpants, and I did. And when I came back in, you shut the door on me. Spike, I've known you longer than most people here tonight, and it doesn't seem a day too much, you know. Good luck, mate. 80 coming up. And when you do your parachute jump, don't forget to pull the cord. God bless you, mate. It's been great knowing you. And let's hope that we go on into the next millennium smiling in our wheelchairs and the thumbs up. How about that? Well done, Milligan. I don't think too good myself here.
I think I'm going to be in a wheelchair.
Well, no, you're as spry as anything.
I'd be in a Jaguar, yeah, but not in a wheelchair.
What was your favourite work of Spike, Dennis? What did you like best about what he did?
Well, there's a sequence in one of the Goon shows where Eccles has the time written down on a piece of paper, which he brings out whenever anybody asks him the time. I don't know if you can reproduce that as if by magic at this moment.
Yes, let me think out. Play, Doctor. What the time have you, Eccles? Well, the time on my piece of paper is 1:30. Oh, my piece of paper only says 3:20. Oh, then your piece of paper must be slow.
I remember that the Goon Show started one week with the sound of a car pulling up. And the boot was opened, all on sound, and you heard something being dragged out of the boot, and dragged along the ground. There was a pause, and there was a splash. And this voice says, shortly after that, I married again.
There was one line by Eccles which could have been said by Socrates. They find him in the cupboard, and they opened it. What are you doing there? He said, everybody's got to be somewhere.
Well, of course, there's a particular goon who's missing here tonight, sadly. Let's just remind ourselves the comic greatness of the late Peter Sellers.
I'm fed up with this Churchill centenary. With all them stamps, what is the plaques and cups and knives and forks, with this Churchill face on them. Churchill with his brandy and his cigars, and his painting and his rotten painting. Hitler, there was a painter for you. Could paint an entire apartment, 2 coats, 1 afternoon. Churchill. Hitler told funnier jokes than Churchill. He had more hair than Churchill. And he could dance the pants of old Churchill. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Winston.
Winston who?
Ah, you have forgotten about him already, you see.
What about Peter Sellers?
Story about Peter Sellers.
Please do, yeah.
You can't make these stories up. They're going to happen. It was one Christmas week, snow on the ground, and at 2 in the morning, the phone went. Spike, yes, it's Peter here. I want you to come round right away. So I thought maybe he was having trouble with wives. One was coming or going. And so I put my overcoat over my pajamas. I got on my Mini. I drove there, and he was sitting in a Rolls-Royce Corniche. So he said, Spike, look, take this piece of chalk. So I thought, well, it's Christmas. It might be a Jewish present, you know. and then he gave me a torch. I said, yes. He said, look, Spike, this is a brand new Rolls-Royce. It's got a squeak in the boot. He said, it shouldn't be there. I said, what do you want me to do? Look, I want you to get in the boot. And when you hear the squeak, make a white cross. So I thought, what? Okay. So I got in the boot, and he started off, and he was bumping the wheels on the pavement to make the squeak. So I was doing this and doing this. And suddenly the car stopped, and there was another car stopped, and the voices, muffled voices. Suddenly, the boot opened, and a torch shone on me, and it was a policeman. And he said, oh, it's you. Another Peter Sellers story. It's at midnight, I think, and he lived at the flat opposite me. I opened the door, and he was standing there naked, except for his shoes and socks. He said, do you know a good tailor?
Wonderful.
He's a lovely, lovely man. I miss him very much.
We all miss him. Change of mood, me hearties.
Yes?
Oh, yes.
You or me?
Me. Because it's high time you changed. Anyway, high time we turned our spotlight on the poetic works of the great Milligan. And one of Spike's most touching poems was set to music by his great friend, who we all miss, the late Alan Clare. We thought it was high time it received a fresh rendition. So here to sing The Small Summer. Welcome, Maria Friedman.
It was summer, on the lake hung a golden haze. It was summer, it was one of those endless days. So we walked through a field of clover, and then over a sheep-spun hill, and it seemed it would last forever, and it did until came the evening, and we swung on a garden gate. It was heaven. I was 7 and you were 8, and we watched at the stars suspended as we walked down an apple lane with my Johnny doll and a daisy chain on an evening that will never come again.
Hi, Spike. This is Elton. I want to wish you a very warm and happy 80th birthday. God knows how many hours of pleasure you've given me throughout my life. You've made me laugh more than any other person, probably. So it's a great occasion. Who'd ever thought you'd make it to 80? Anyway, I got to make a living too, you know, so I've got to go up and play now. But have the best time, and may you make 100, my love. I salute you.
Happy birthday, great Spike. I love you so much. You're just like a beacon, a guiding light, a great hero to all of us who campaign against injustice and against cruelty to animals. So for that, Spike, I love you. You're not 80. It's a lie.
Oh, God, she's lovely.
I want to read to you your beautiful poem, My Boyhood Dog, which I love very much. It's very sad. Boxer, my boxer, where do you lie? Somewhere under a Pune sky. Ah, my canine, total joy you were to me when, as a boy, we coursed the wind and ran the while. No end in sight, mile after mile. I was to you, and you to me, locked in a bond, eternally. They never told me when you died, to spare me pain, in case I cried. So then, too, those adult fears denied you then my childhood tears. Bye-bye, Spike. I love you.
In true comic tradition...
Never mind about the poem. What about her?
Sykes, Spate, and Norton couldn't be bothered to sit here any longer, so they're over there, near the bar, ready for when it opens. At least it gives us a chance for some intelligent conversation, because I want to talk about the poems. Now, I'm not the only one who sits in awe of Spike's rhyming scansion, because look what the cat's dragged in to curl up on the uncut moquette. A retinue of ne'er-do-wells, hobbledehoys, rapscallions, just arrived on the coach, all of them prepared to admit to being friends of Milligan. Here's the writer and the humorist, Kathy Lett. What have you got for us?
Well, my favourite, the Ning Nang Nong, the hardest poem to say, though. You're the only man I would allow to put words in my mouth, because, normally you never know where they've been.
How do you know Spike, anyway?
Well, when I was a teenager in Australia...
She was trying to sleep with me in Australia.
Steady.
I know, true. When I was a teenager and all my girlfriends had the customary crush on the monosyllabic rock star, those guys with love bites on their mirrors. The only man in my life was Spike. Remember, he used to come out there on tour?
Yeah.
And I would run away from school and hitchhike around Australia and just follow him wherever he was going. 16. Well, who wouldn't adore him? I mean, he's got a black belt in the art of tongue fu.
My bank manager doesn't adore me.
Oh.
Or his wife.
They must be the only ones.
Yes, he's the only one. Yes. I had an overdraft in the bank once, and they wrote to me, "Dear Mr. Milligan, you are overdrawn by £450. So Rhodes said, "Thank you very much for telling me. Signed, Spike Milligan." So a month later said, "Perhaps you didn't understand at first. We actually would like you to repay the overdraft." So I wrote to them and said, "Listen, once a month I write a little piece of paper, one of my creditors' names, and I put them in the hat. And if you don't stop bothering me, I won't put your bloody name in the hat."
Kathy, what's your poem?
Well, the Ning Nang Nong, which I always loved, and my children love too. So it's the Spike Milligan addiction is genetic,
Okay.
On the ning nang nong where the cows go bong and the monkeys all say boo, there's a nong nang ning where the trees go ping and the teapots jibber jabber joo. On the nong ning nang all the mice go clang and you just can't catch them when they do. So it's ning nang nong, cows go bong, nong nang ning, trees go ping, nong ning nang, the mice go clang. What a noisy place to belong is the ning nang nong.
Well read. That wasn't easy. Well, that wasn't easy.
No.
Now, on parade from Spike's army days, we're delighted to welcome former Major Jack Lehman. Jack, you're his commanding officer.
No, not exactly.
Really?
I first met him in Algeria. We had taken Tunis, and the brigadier said to me one day, just amuse the chaps. Will you produce a little show for them? And I sent out to the various regiments asking for volunteers. And among them was Spike with his trumpet. And he was absolutely marvelous. Then we took the show down to Bougie, and there were some wrens, all pink and white, just out from England, and we gave the show there, and then we had a dance, and it was absolutely delightful. We hadn't seen a white woman for years.
We hadn't seen a black one either.
He was absolutely marvelous, and everybody loved him. He's a man of great feeling, both anger and love. And the poem I have is redolent of the love that he had for one of the junior officers in his battery.
Oh, the Lieutenant Tony Goldsmith.
It's Longstop Hill.
Oh, God, yes, he was killed.
Longstop Hill, the 22nd of April, 1943. That April day seems far away. The day they decided to kill Lieutenant Tony Goldsmith, R.A., on the slopes of Longstop Hill. At Tukabir, the dawn lights stir, whose blood today will be spilt. Today it is Tony Goldsmith's seeping out on Longstop Hill. One can't complain or ease the pain or find someone to fill the place of Tony Goldsmith lying dead on Longstop Hill. In Germany, there still might be a Joachim, Fritz, or Will who did for Tony Goldsmith that day on Longstop Hill.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you.
Now, here's Joe McGrath, who had the bad luck to direct Spike in the BBC's Q series. Joe, you kind of shared an interest in the poems of the great McGonagall, didn't you?
Yes, that's true. I mean, we have to say who McGonagall is. He was probably the worst poet.
Oh, no.
I remember that the first poem he wrote, he thought he should become the poet laureate. And he always starts one with the, oh, the chicken is a noble beast. The cow is much forlorner, standing in the pouring rain with a leg at every corner.
You've upstaged me again,
Have
Milligan.
I?
Bill Wyman, how do you know this man?
Oh, we met a long time ago at we were both doing radio shows in the same area, and eventually he came on the show that I was doing and messed it up, and it was nice.
Yeah, I know
to
the
meet
feeling,
him.
yeah.
I invited him to my wedding, and he arrived with one of those walk-in frames that you were talking about.
Well,
and I looked at the label, and it
bride.
said, "To help you through the honeymoon." Through every nook and every cranny, the wind blew in on poor old Granny. Around her knees, into each ear, and up her nose as well, I fear. All through the night the wind grew worse. It nearly made the vicar curse. The top had fallen off the steeple, just missing him and other people. It blew on man, it blew on beast, it blew on nun, it blew on priest. It blew the wig off Auntie Sally, but most of all, it blew on Granny.
Well done, Bill.
Thank you to all. To all our
Well,
poetry
Bill,
readers.
you've been a success at last.
I feel another song coming on. And a real coup it is. At great license payer's expense, it is your BBC. Trust me, it's worth every penny. We cross the Atlantic to Danny's Bar, West 46th Street, New York. Find jazz legend Blossom Dearie, poised with more deathless Milligan doggerel set to music. So Blossom, do your stuff.
Alice in Wonderland would never understand a little queen of hearts like you. But in the book it said off with his head, and that's exactly what you do. Indeed, I lost my head completely when on the river one summer's day, all in the golden afternoon, we glided far away. Oh, Alice, how I loved you. The fairy cakes you made, the lemonade, the funny stories that you told of Tweedledum and Dee, who could not agree, and Father William, who was very old. Mad Hatters on a spree, Dormouse dunked in the tea. All of that day to me was gold. We let the timeless sand run through our hands. The setting sun became a glow. I recall down the long years between. Where did my queen of hearts go? Alice in Wonderland, where are you now, my love? Happy birthday, Spikerino.
Yes, the incomparable Blossom Dearie in New York. And look at this. Where the celebrations have taken on a little class, they've slunk back to the chaise longue. Eric Sykes, Johnny Spate, and Dennis Norton. Joining us again.
Back for the dead for one night only.
Spike, can I ask you something that perhaps you haven't been asked before? What makes you laugh?
Jacques Tati and the Marx Brothers. The first very funny, what sort of cosmic joke I ever saw was Groucho Marx on the stage with Margaret Dupont, that very tall woman who never knew she was in the comedy, and he's playing the guitar. I love you, my dear. All right, well. The knock on the door said, oh, it's my husband. He said, what'll I do? He said, duck behind the couch. So he went behind the couch, and he stood up. He said, there's no duck behind this couch.
I I mean, do you like Tati? Do you like mime?
Well,
does mime make you laugh?
I also like W.C. Fields.
Oh, yeah.
The story about him, slightly rude. He was missing from a film set, and Warner Brothers were very worried as to where he was. So Warner said to his chauffeur, said, look, go around all the dives in New York, and you'll find him there with a crummy crowd of card players and drinking. So finally this chauffeur ran him down. He said, Mr. Fields, what do you want? Mr. Warner said, give you this set of golf clubs. He'd like to play a game of golf with you. He said, tell him if I wanted to play with a prick, I'll play with my own.
Have you any advice for new comics?
Well, try and keep it clean.
What are you most proud of?
I think the fact that I have a very healthy sense of humor. That's what I like best. I'm as compulsive as Van Gogh, who was a manic depressive. Couldn't stop painting. I'm a manic depressive. I can't stop writing comedy.
Yeah. So
that's a good answer.
It is a good answer. Let me ask the other three about how do you think posterity will judge him? I mean, it's a hard question. This. We start with you, Dennis.
Very good. I've never met the man.
I'm very glad of that.
The one line of his, you asked me before
yeah.
What I remember, and I think it could be adapted to his present age. He wrote somewhere, anybody can be 52, but it takes a bus to be 52B. I think anybody can be 80, but it takes Spike to be 80 the way he is.
Yeah. Well, now, more tributes have been flooding in from near and far, as you can imagine. We've already heard from Sir Elton. Here's another noble knight of the pop world with his tribute.
Hello, Spike. Great greetings from here, from me to you, and a very happy birthday to you on your 80th. Is it true? Yes. Here's a little song I'd like to sing for you. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in Ying Tong. I believe in Ying Tong. Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying like home. Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying Tong, Ying like home.
Lovely. Well, that is lovely. Well, our thanks to everyone.
He ruined a beautiful song then.
I like that Ying Tong
How
song.
yesterday, someone came and took the stove away. They're coming back again today, but that's what they took yesterday.
Simple but effective. Our thanks to everyone who's come to heap praise upon Spike this evening, but not quite over yet. There's one final surprise. Which
God, I should have been at a restaurant 10 minutes ago.
I should have been in bed.
I wish you had been.
This'll stretch your old suspenders. Hold yourselves in readiness. band of the Royal Artillery. Spike, be praise upon praise. The band of the Royal Artillery, your old regiment, of course, have added another stirring tune to their military repertoire in your honour. Their way of saying, as we all do, happy birthday, Spike.
There's a song that I recall my mother sang to me. She sang it as she tucked me in when I was 93. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, din lai po. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, din lai po. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, din lai po. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, din lai po, din lai po. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, din lai po. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, din lai po. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, din lai po. Ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, din lai po, din lai po.
All right, bugger off, bugger off.
Happy birthday, Spike. I think you're a genius, not only as a comedian and all the other things you are, but as a poet. And I'm going to read a poem for you. It won't nearly be as well read as you reading it, but I'll have a go at it. Growing up. Is that all there is? Goodbye? After a million hellos? After all those bird-blessed good mornings, after the bubbling bath-time laughter, after so many soul-searching Santa Claus, after a million wild walks on the moors, after the swing-swung laughing summers, after the tear-drenched kiss-better bumped head, after the new wear-them-in-bed red shoes, after a tumult of timeless teddy bears, after a delirium of dolls in prams, after a rainbow of ice creams, after Daddy, I love you all the world. Goodbye.